Hey guys, Paul here from Meldrum Performance Coaching, another podcast video. Today going to be talking about communication strategies with clients, something that's really easy to do to help coach them through nutrition challenges without having to deal with macros, how to coach them with adherence issues, how to coach clients with pretty much any type of issue. So the whole premise behind this method of communication is not so much telling the client or diagnosing what they do. That is a really poor way to do coaching in the context of general population clients. If you're working with a professional athlete or you're working with a competitor of some type, absolutely it's the right way to do that. You want to diagnose their problems and tell them exactly what's going on. For general population clients, you create high levels of adherence, better levels of autonomy, high levels of intrinsic motivation. What we need to do is get the client to come to the realization that whatever they're doing is wrong and get them to be the ones who come up with the change. Because if a client has that realization themselves, it's so much more powerful than someone just saying, oh, this is it. I'm sure you know from your own business, when you've actually realized what you've been doing wrong as a PT, it immediately changes how you operate like that. Even though someone else, like your mentor or a coach or another trainer, may have told you the exact same thing. So the communication framework we're going to use is called Example, Impact, Change, or EIC for short, the EIC method. I learned this from my wife. She is an expert in management and consultancy, and she uses this all the time. So I adapted it to the fitness industry, so thanks to you, Kristen. So with EIC, the first thing that we're going to be looking at is the example. So let's put it in the context of a food journal. A client comes in with their food journal, they show you everything. We read it being very non-judgmental. If we start this process off by judging people by what's going on, it's going to ruin the change process of it and can also potentially impact them in a number of ways. So example is maybe you look through the food journal. Hi Genevieve, I've noticed that you've been eating a lot of chocolate. What's up with that? So all you're doing is making an observation. You're not saying you're eating too much chocolate. Oh, I've noticed you've had a bit. What's going on? What's the context around it? So with the example, what you want to do is you want to kind of get as much of a picture around that chocolate as you can. So you want to understand the why behind it, where it happens, to when it happens, all the different contexts of that situation. So when do you eat it? Oh, normally after work, I'm so stressed because my boss is a real asshole. Okay, cool. And how much do you eat and where do you store it and where do you buy it? Like just get as much information like that as you can. Reason being for that is then that allows the client to kind of get the environment around it in their head, and then you can start looking at using environmental triggers in the change aspect of it. So this is where it becomes quite powerful, where you get a lot of information. You can basically adjust everything and let the client come to the right conclusion. Now the impact is, what is it actually doing to your results? So you could easily say to your client, so eating all that chocolate, what impact does it have on the rest of your diet? Oh, when I eat chocolate, I feel like I go off my diet. So then I give up on everything else, and then I'll have pasta for dinner, even though I should be having some proteins and veggies. I then have a glass of wine because, I've already gone that far. I may as well. Okay, cool. And what impact does that have on your calorie intake? Oh, jams at sky high. How's your weight going? Is there any change there? Oh, it's going up. It's going in the wrong direction. And how's your energy in the gym? Oh, it's been really crap. Like whenever I have chocolate, I feel crappy the next day. And how's your sleep? Yeah, it just stops me from sleeping. Because I'm snacking on stuff, I end up staying way later than what I should. I don't go to bed. I don't wake up recovered, and it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle. So the process of impact is to basically go, okay, cool. This is how many different things is this actually negatively impacting in your life? And the reason why we're asking the client what's going on is to get them to actually realize that. We're not trying to tell them, hey, did you know that eating chocolate adds calories to your diet? Hey, did you know that if you snack all night, you're going to stay up late and you're not going to have good quality sleep? We're not diagnosing anything that's going on, because as soon as we do that, we start to create resistance in the client. If the client comes to the conclusion themselves, then there's none of that resistance is built up. And what happens is they have the moment of realization. And when they have that moment of realization, that's when things change. So that's straight into the next, segues into the next question. What do you want to change? Or how do you think you should change? And from there, the client will tell and figure out pretty much exactly what they need to do. And our job in this part of the scenario is not to say what they need to do. We don't need to give a solution. That's not really relevant. It's not really useful. What we need to do is make sure the level of change is enough for that client. So if someone says, I'm going to cut out chocolate totally and that's it, we need to go, okay, cool. Is that something that's really realistic? How are you going to take care of your environment? How are you going to take care of the context? How else are you going to deal with stress? So what we need to do is break the goal down into chunks, all the different parts of it that relate to it. And then we need to help them figure out a change that's going to be the most achievable for them. Because as soon as we got the change that's achievable for that client and they can do it, as soon as they get the success, that's going to create like a follow-on effect. They're going to go to the next step, and they'll start succeeding. And what will happen then, they'll get that positive momentum, they'll get the results that they're after, they'll be happy that you've been the one that's helped them finally deal with their chocolate cravings whenever they're stressed out, which is something that they've been after for a very long time. No one else has got through it. The secret is you didn't actually do it. Your client actually took responsibility for themselves. They're the ones who had the realization. They're the ones who made a change. Our job was to provide accountability and make sure it was the right change for that person at the right time. So everyone, that's the EIC model of change and communication. Start using it with your clients. Change the words around from impact. Don't just say what impact does it have in fat loss and what impact does it have in this. Use a little bit different words, have a bit of variety. Otherwise it sounds way too scripted. Any questions, hit me up on any of the socials or anything like that. Looking forward to chatting to you all real soon.